How did our system of agriculture evolve from being one based on small family farms to the corporate system that we have today? Could you give us kind of a historical overview of what happened and why it happened?
Sure.
Yeah.
Simple. What we ended up in the Second World War, we had all family farmers, small family farmers. We developed a lot of chemicals. The chemicals were used in the war effort. At the end of the war, there was no market for all of these chemicals. And they looked at it and they said, how in the world are we going to keep these chemical industries alive if we don't have a customer? What we need to do is we need to sell the small family farmer on that if they want to get bigger, if they want to be part of the movement, they got to start using these chemicals. They got to start spraying the crops. They got to start laying down chemical fertilizer and the whole thing. And all of a sudden, people in agriculture bought that. I bought that. Hook, line, and sinker. It was the biggest bunch of crap that I ever did in my life.
What were the economic and other factors that encouraged monocropping and economies of scale within the industry?
Well, a lot of that was supported by the universities. They came out with all kinds of studies that said, if you're going to be the wave of the future, you have to be this certain size. You have to be able to afford the equipment for X number of acres. And people looked at that and they started believing it. Mm-hmm. It's all about supporting a chemical industry, a pharmaceutical industry, a banking industry, and they're all together about going out and saying, these guys are our serfs today. Let's sell them on buying more chemicals, more pharmaceuticals. It's a lie.
If we were to eat a lot more produce, plant-based diet, would that change the product mix in a way that would perhaps discourage the kind of monocropping,
sure,
single product operations that we see out there today?
If we were to take the American public, and let's say that we went from eating the amount of vegetables we're eating today, that we doubled them. That would end up taking the local farmers and look at it as a market. And they look at it and say, wow, that's much more profitable than growing corn to stuff down the throat of an animal. That's what I'm going to do. The more plant-based material that is consumed locally is the greatest thing that ever happened to the American family farm. If we care about the environment, if we care about the future of our children and grandchildren, we should all be eating whole food, plant-based. And the more of it we eat, the healthier our communities are, the healthier our farms are, the healthier we are.
How has the federal government and the policy of the government encouraged this corporatization of agriculture?
Well, we have the best government money can buy. And that money is coming from the big agribusiness people. The small family farmer, they don't have enough money to put in the pockets of politicians to make any difference. But the big ones, they own the majority of Congress.
Is it true that most of the subsidies goes to the large farms?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have to be an accountant to figure that out. Mm-hmm. The large farms could not exist without the subsidy of the taxpayers' dollars that are going into them. The amount of taxpayer dollars that go into small family farms is minuscule, does not mean much. But on the big ones, it is their only lifeline. Because remember, they're producing above the cost that they're selling the product for. If it's not for the money that is coming from government, they're out of business.
Having been a livestock farmer in the past, what do you think about factory farming today and the methods of factory farming, particularly as it pertains to animals and the raising of livestock?
There's no way in the world that we can treat living beings the way they're treated in these livestock operations that are out there. We should be ashamed of ourselves as humans of ever doing that. I've been there, I was one, and it is wrong.
Do you think that the USDA should be telling Americans what to eat?
Well, USDA, they could tell Americans what to eat, but at the same time, they can't go out there and make the best business for agriculture. They have two masters. You cannot do both. You cannot talk about the nutritional health of the consumer and the financial health of the producer. USDA does not do either job well. If they did one, we'd be a lot better off. I don't care which one, but trying to do both of them, that's crazy.